Welcome in, Jesse Shule here from jesseshule.com. Today I've got a football preview for week one, college football, Saturday's slate of games. But before I get to the preview, I got to remind you, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. Please offer your comments below this video. Before we get started, we will recap our preview for Thursday's slate of games, starting with Kent State and UCF. And I regret to inform you that I got suckered into taking the points. The line got bet up all the way to 37. And I did mention that this wasn't my favorite game on the card, but I was going to roll the dice, take the points. Well, Kent State was every bit as bad as advertised, and they got blown out. But moving forward, our next game was Nebraska at Minnesota, plus 7.5. And I said that these two teams look at about even to me, and getting the hook, the touchdown plus the hook was good value. I thought Nebraska was going to be vastly improved. And I spoke highly of Jeff Sims. Well, he threw 3 interceptions. If he had played just a little bit better, Nebraska would have won that game outright. But we were on the right side of that game, and that was my only premium pick so far in week one. And I gave it out on this show. Can you believe that? Generous guy. Finally, the biggest game of the night, we had the Florida Gators at the Utah Utes, and Florida fans had been giving me the gears all week, telling me I was a fool for thinking Utah could beat their Gators. Well, Utah laid the smackdown, and Graham Mertz didn't look great. It was a big Joes versus pros line move, in my opinion. You saw the line got moved down after the Cam Rising injury news, and then there was some late buyback. A lot of sharp money came in on Utah late, and the evidence as to why we saw it in the result last night. So let's go with this week's preview for Saturday's slate on college football, starting with Toledo at Illinois. Now, Toledo is returning a ton of guys. They're one of the top teams in the country with returning production. They're expected to contend for a MAC title again. But at the end of the day, this is a MAC team on the road at a Big Ten team. And Illinois last year, they allowed 12.3 points per game, the number one scoring defense in the Big Ten. Now, they did lose a bunch of guys, but Brett Bielema's got his guys have bought into his system. I think a lot of that strong defensive play is not just personnel, but coaching. It's the style they play. I expect them to play a similar style. Their offense wasn't much to write home about last year, Illinois, and I don't think they're going to be any better, if not worse, this year. Toledo, they got involved in some high-scoring games last year. They can play fast and loose in the MAC, in those midweek MAC games, but if you look at their schedule, you see they had a 17-14 loss versus San Diego State. They beat Ohio 17-7 in the MAC championship game. And in their bowl game, they won 21-19 over Liberty. So they can get involved in some low-scoring games as well. Daquan Finn is the quarterback, sort of highly touted. I'm not a big fan. Just 59% completion, 23 touchdowns, a dozen picks last year. He's a dual threat guy, which sort of leans more credence to the under. And if you haven't paid attention to what's going on in college football, the new rules with the clock stoppages, it seems to be resulting in line moves where all the totals are getting knocked down 3, 4, 5 points, and for good reason. We have seen majority of games go under so far. I think it was 4-3 to the under in week 0 and 8-3 to the under for the Thursday slate. We'll see what happens Friday and Saturday, but the bookmakers are moving these numbers down. This one opened at 50, 50 and a half, 51. It's been bet down to 46, but I think at 46, still a good number to bet the under. I expect this to be a low scoring game. So that's the way we're going to play this one. Next up, we got North Carolina and South Carolina. And we're going to go a little contrarian for this one. And I will have to say last week I did a preview, or it might have been a couple weeks ago now. So a lot has changed in the couple weeks. We've had a chance to see how the new rules have affected the game. I originally said I liked the over in this game, and I've changed my mind based on how I've seen the new rules play out. And not only that, this line got bet up from 61.5 to 64.5. So we see the trend with the unders hitting, and we see money coming in on the over in this game. And there's reason for that. We got two teams that were high-powered offenses. We've got Drake May and the Tar Heels. They can't play defense. South Carolina with Spencer Rattler. Spencer Rattler is capable of slinging it around the yard, but he's very inconsistent. You sort of never know what you're going to get with him. And South Carolina had one of the best secondaries in the SEC last year, but they couldn't stop the run at all. So I could see North Carolina being tempted to run the ball more than they normally do. And if that's the case, with this total being bet up to 64.5 with the new rules, if these teams are running the ball enough that clock's going to get chewed up, and that line move is going to be significant. So my lean for North Carolina, South Carolina is going to be under the 64.5. And finally, the game that everybody should want to see, the revenge game, the rematch between UTSA and the Houston Cougars. If you don't remember what happened last year, week 1 at UTSA, it looked like the Roadrunners had a chance to pull off the upset, but Houston ended up winning in triple overtime. The game went way over the total, but it was 24-24 at the end of regulation. I like the revenge angle here, and I like the continuity with the Roadrunners. They're bringing back Frank Harris, the quarterback. He's been with the program for 7 years. This is going to be his 7th season. He's been a starter for 4 seasons. He's coming off of a big year. He did lose his top wideout, but he still has Josh Cephas, starting tight end. He's got the leading rusher back. They've got a talented receiving core. This offense should be humming. And the same cannot be said for Houston. I mean, the jury's still out on Houston. They've got a new quarterback. Donovan Smith comes over from Texas Tech. He's a dual threat guy, so he's going to be playing for a new coach and a new system. We'll see how he adjusts. But the Cougars lost Tank Dell and Clayton Tune. So losing your starting quarterback and your leading wide receiver, you could expect perhaps some struggles in week 1 with the revenge angle, with UTSA returning all that talent on offense. Their defense wasn't great last year, but probably good enough to keep them competitive. And I just like UTSA in this spot. So we're taking the Roadrunners to execute revenge in Houston. By the way, the banner at the bottom of your screen for limited time at jesseshul.com until October 1st. You can get 7 days, all sports, all access, $99. It's not quite as sexy as the 50% off we were giving out all summer, but we're off and running with college football. Only one premium pick, and that was Nebraska plus 7.5 yesterday. We've got a 3-pack of totals up for Saturday's slate. We've got another game up for Saturday. And we're looking to repeat what we did last year. For those of you who weren't with me, we were 18-2 with college football in September. We were 30-5 with college and pros combined. Finished top 5 in the world with both college and NFL. So if you got $99 in your pocket, you come see me at jesseshul.com. You'll be glad that you did.